in the shed with a head.
Hey YouTubers and friends, how you doing out there? I'm glad you joined me in my shop today. If any of my YouTubers and friends out there are novice gold panners, you might want to stick around. If you're an experienced gold panner, you could stick around too. But I know I'm not on the stream doing this, and in this controlled environment it's kind of good because you can classify your material down even more. Classification is the key to gold retention when you're out anywhere from the stream to your shop. I have a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch classifier, stacking classifiers I made out of buckets and hardware cloth. I made them out of some drywall mud buckets I get from work. They stack great, they work great out in the field, they're easy to make. I have a short video that explains to another viewer about them. But back to panning. Now, it's essential that all prospectors learn how to pan, and small scale miners. You'll always start off panning, because when you're out there prospecting the locations you've had researched and everything, you're gonna either use your better judgment, dowsing rods, or intuition, or whatever the case may be, reading the stream and figuring out where gold should theoretically be. Now, my material is classified down to this. I have 3 nice sized flakes in there that would never fit through this. And I have 1 speck in the pan. The gold I'm using all came from a river I really like up in Washington State that used to be pretty much in my backyard. If you have watched my videos in the past, you just might know which river I'm talking about. But gold being about the heaviest thing in the waterway, when you classify your material to the equal size material to the equal size gold, gold being so heavier, you have a lot better chances of retaining as much gold as humanly possible. But you get your pan and the material in your pan wet in a fluid state. I use Dawn dish soap or a jet dry type material. I get the cheapest stuff I can get, none of the perfumey stuff. And you put in your water to break up your surface tension, because your gold, being hydrophobic, will actually dry up quick and float on the surface tension of your water. Now, you want to get your material all in a fluid state. So you want to stratify it really good and do it vigorously. Do it well. Stratify it well, because that allows your gold being heavy to drop to the bottom of your pan. Then, after you stratify it a bit, turn it to an angle where you have material starting to go over the lip of your pan. And then you can just lift up and wash the heavier stuff out. Bring back your pan to a level position, keeping water in it. You do not want to pour it out like this and lock up the material in your pan, because when you get to a point where you're dumping material and it's all locked up, you could pour gold out. So always remember, keep it in a fluid suspended state. Again, over your riffles, tilt the pan forward and wash some material out. I usually go 3-4 times on the dipping and washing out material before I level back my pan and stratify it again. And then I continue the process, repeating the process. And sometimes when I have a bigger rock in there, I will rock it back and forth, and it will help carry out the bigger rock. But just keep repeating those 2 phases. Stratify, then washing off the lighter material, bring it down, stratify, wash off the lighter, stratify, wash some off, stratify, wash some off, stratify, wash some off, and so on, and so on, and so on, until you get down to about a teaspoon or less is a good rule before you fan out your black sands to see what you want. You also want to use a magnet you can release, like this one I made here, or this one here you could buy from King. That way you could put it in and get all the black sands out of your concentrates. In this hand, this is a seated pan, so most of my black sands, a good majority of them is already out of this dirt, but I still have some garnet sands and some hematites and some other materials that are not super magnetic, because garnets can be magnetic, and I believe hematite can too at times, but don't quote me on that. I'm not no geologist. But when you get down to about a tablespoon or so, you're going to be wanting to look for gold to pop her face up in your pan, because once you see gold in like your first riffle, you're gonna want to bring it back down and stratify it again. There, I see gold right there, so I'm gonna want to bring it back. Now I have about a tablespoon left in my pan, and I can fan it out. And I got it all. Three nice little flakes and a little speck. Can you see it? Here, I'll spilling water. But can you see him? So my friends, that's how you gold pan, and you want to get good at it. because in small scale mining and prospecting for your gold, the sluicing, dredging, there's prospecting and panning while you're sampling. And before you start doing your mining. And then when you're back home in the shop, cleaning your concentrates in the winter time or throughout the season, if you're not doing it at night in your camp, you'll be panning again out here in your shop. So learn how to pan well. If you're not a GPAA member, it's a great way to start out. A lot of good people for members that are more than willing to help and even show you how to use different types of equipment and so on. There's tons of claims and leased properties, and also in the guide they show you a bunch of pay-to-dig places and other clubs throughout the states. You know, there's all kinds of clubs out west, here out east, and in the Midwest. There's lots of chapters and other clubs. Like here in Ohio, we have 3 chapters and 1 club. The OSPA and the Buckeye Chapter is my home chapter of the GPAA, along with Tri-State Chapter down at the Lewis lease property, and the Greater Cincinnati Chapter. Indiana has 2 or 3 chapters. Illinois has a chapter. Pennsylvania has a few chapters, and West Virginia and beyond. You know, Michigan, the list keeps going on and on and on. But thank you for joining me, and I hope this helped. If you're a beginner, and it was brought to you by the Buckeye Chapter of the GPAA out of Belleville, Ohio, with the home property being the beautiful Swank West property. So until my next episode, may you always have a flash in your pan, and maybe one day too, I'll see you on the river.